I tried to recreate the GTA 6 art style, but instead of copying one official image, I wanted to make a new illustration that could feel like it belongs in that world. And while I was thinking about what to draw, this meme basically solved the whole idea, because after the GTA 6 artwork dropped, everyone was talking about Jason and Lucia, but as soon as the official cover dropped, the whole internet looked at the GTA bikini girl and immediately forgot how to behave. So Jason became the GTA community, Lucia became the actual main character being ignored for 2 seconds, and the GTA lady became the reason the internet needed supervision. So the joke was easy. The hard part was making it look like GTA 6. To make this work, I had to solve 3 things. The characters needed to feel like GTA 6 characters, the background needed a colorful Vice City mood, and the rendering had to carry that official artwork feeling. If one of those failed, everything breaks. So here's how I did it. I started by collecting official GTA 6 artwork from Rockstar's website. I saved the wider images for the environments and the cropped images for the characters. I didn't want to study everything equally. I just needed a reference that would solve this specific drawing. Images of Jason and Lucia for the faces and bodies, the GTA lady for the outfit, hair and attitude, some beach artwork for the color and background mood, and of course, some references from Pinterest to solve specific problems. The first thing that stood out was the color. The GTA 6 artwork is light, tropical and colorful, but not realistic in a boring way. The shadows lean into purple, blue and teal. The lights move through pink, green, soft yellow and the very visible warm ring light. That became the first rule for this piece. Realistic structure, graphic shapes and that weird tropical color. And then I started studying the characters. Jason can look realistic at first, but his proportions are slightly pushed. He got a smaller forehead, lower brow in relation to the cranial sphere, small eyes, and a really strong jaw. They place significant emphasis on the lower third of the face. He has this solid, slightly comic book face, a face built like he has unpaid parking tickets. And Lucia follows the same rules, but her shapes are softer. Her cheekbones are higher, her lips are fuller, and her hair is more wavy and flowing. They are under the same rules, but with slightly different shape language. And the GTA lady follows the same pattern again. Small forehead, strong jaw, stylized realism. So after studying the 3 of them, I found a repeating pattern that I could use in the drawing. Once I had it, I started the sketch. At first, I wasn't trying to make it look like GTA yet. I just need the meme to read clearly. 3 characters with their poses and drama. I used real photo references for the poses, and then checked trailer references for Jason and Lucia's body types. Because even with a stylized look, the pose still has to work. The style won't save a broken structure. For the GTA lady, I had 2 options. One version just walking, and one version looking at her phone. I wasn't sure which was better. Then my art director, also known as my fiancé, told me to use the phone. And she was right. That ended up being the better option. Then the first problem showed up. Lucia's face. I copied the expression from the meme, but it didn't fit her face. The woman in the meme has different lips, different jaw, different proportions, different everything. So when I copied the expression too directly, Lucia didn't look like Lucia. She looked like a random angry woman. So I had to adjust the mouth, nose, jaw, cheek area and expression until the acting worked without breaking the character. And that was the first useful correction. Just look at the before and after. Way better, I think. And then came Jason. When I started blocking his face, he briefly turned into a handsome Squidward. So I pushed him back toward the reference. Smaller eyes, heavier brow. And then I flipped the canvas, which is a simple way to refresh your eyes. After staring at the same drawing for hours, your brain starts accepting weird mistakes as normal, and flipping the canvas makes those mistakes visible again. And in my case, it revealed that Jason had become extremely chesty, so I used the lasso, liquify, and more sketching to bring the anatomy back under control. Now he was closer, and now it's the GTA lady. And this is where I started questioning why I picked 3 characters instead of 1. 1 character would have been enough, Caio. Why you do that? Anyway, she had the clear silhouette, the most detailed outfit, the curly hair, and the most important first read of the joke. So, I mixed her official references with real photos. For the phone hand, I took a photo of my own hand, something I strongly recommend doing. For the hair, I separated the curls into big sections, instead of drawing every single strand. The goal at this point wasn't final polish, it was just to make the sketch readable enough to survive the next stages. And once the 3 characters are working, I moved to the background. The background was actually simpler. The GTA 6 environments use big separated planes and flat graphic shapes. So for my beach, I kept the ingredients simple. Sand, ocean, palm trees, vegetation, sky, birds. I used Clip Studio's perspective tools for the chairs and umbrellas. For vegetation and birds, I use a simple group of 3 idea, with different sizes, large, medium and small. It usually feels more natural than repeating the same size everywhere. That's a small and useful tip. That was actually quick for a change. In less than 15 minutes, the background sketch was enough. Then I compared everything with the references and fixed what bothered me most. faces, hands, Jason's forearm. And after that, the scene has a structure. Next came Lineart. Looking at the official artwork, I noticed the style is more graphic than it first appears. There's a lot of painting, yes, but the structure is still very line-based. You can see lines in the eyelids, lips, fingers, clothing edges, wrinkles and accessories. The lines are thin, clean and controlled, and they often get tinted later, so they don't always feel like black outlines. So I duplicated my smooth line work pen, removed some random size variation, increased the density, and raised the stabilization. Note here, this brush is part of my free essential brush pack for Photoshop and Clip Studio Paint, by the way, link in the description. I usually like messier and more organic lines, but this style wanted cleaner lines, and that's what I'll do. I also use many facilitation tools, straight lines, ellipse tools, selection tricks, because the GTA artwork has a very polished structure. Round things feel round, straight things feel straight, so if tools help me get closer to that, I'm using the tools. No bonus points for suffering. So, I started the line work with a GTA lady, because she was the best candidate for an early visual payoff. Normally, I would line every character before painting, but for the video, I wanted to push one character further first, so the transformation wouldn't feel boring. For the necklaces, I use the trick I use a lot. Draw the inner shape, expand the selection, create the outline, and delete the center. For the Siempre necklace, I typed it with a similar font, drew over it, and used the same outline trick. Before rendering her, I went back to the background. I used the lasso tool here for the vegetation shapes. For the palm trees, I drew one tree, duplicated it, and changed the leaves, so they didn't look identical. And the color was harder than the sketch. The GTA 6 palette is weird, in a good way. It's pastel, but strong, tropical but with purple, green and pink shifts. The sand got a soft pink feeling, the shadows move toward teal, the sky moves lightly blue, and the ocean has green in it. For the sand and water, I used a soft gradient, then added texture with lasso shapes and the eraser. The waves got too strong at first, so I erased some of them. The clouds were also made with soft lasso shapes, slightly blurred, using colors that blend into the sky. Now the scene has a mood, and that mood is a huge part of why GTA 6 artwork feels like GTA 6. Then I feel the GTA lady's flat colors. I kept the base colors fairly neutral, so I could push the light and shadows later. The hair alone took around 45 minutes just for the flat shapes, because curly hair is a trap. Beautiful, but still a trap. I separated the curls into layers, with darker shapes inside and lighter shades outside. That gave me a base to render on top. And once the flats were ready, I reached the stage that could make or break the entire image, rendering. In the official artwork, the characters are always against the light. The front of the body is mostly in soft diffuse shadow. The main light comes from behind and creates a strong ring light. That ring light is sharp, direct and graphic. There is also a secondary color light, usually pink or purple, weaker than the main light, but still very visible. So the lighting problem was clear. Soft shadow on the front, strong ring light from behind, and a secondary color light. Now I had to decide the direction. Should the main ring light come from the left or the right? Well, I tested both. The light from the left worked better on the GTA lady's face, but the rest of the scene got weaker. The bodies looked flatter, Lucia looked strange, and Jason's twist lost impact. On the other hand, light from the right was less perfect for the GTA lady's face, because her hair competed with the light, but it made the whole composition stronger. Jason's body is twisting, and the light helps show that movement, so the light actually helps explain the pose, and that is useful. And this direction also favors the silhouettes of the two female characters. Professional decision, I swear. So I picked the right side ring light, and now the render had a plan. I started rendering the GTA lady away from the face, because I wanted to practice the rules before touching the focal point. All of the shadows were made with lasso selections and low opacity multiply layers. Some were pinker, some were bluer. The goal wasn't dramatic cast shadow. The front of the body is mostly under diffuse light, so the shadows are there to describe the form, make a shape, feel it, erase one edge softly, compare with the reference, and adjust. Simple and easy to ruin. Then I added the ring light. For the body, I used sharp lasso shapes. For the hair, I used a brush because the curls needed more organic variation. This was the second big payoff. After the rim light, she finally started looking like she belonged to the GTA 6 references. Then I added the secondary pink light, some blue shadows, and small highlights on the face. I also started tinting the Lineart where the light hit, so the black lines wouldn't feel too heavy. But something still felt wrong with the hair. When I compared it to the official reference, I noticed my curls were too continuous. They look like long connected tubes. In the GTA artwork, the curls are more broken, with more gaps and interruptions. So I used a mask and erased parts of the curls without destroying the whole layer. And now it's much better. Then I added the little holes in the jersey fabric using colors from the skin, shirt, bikini and ocean behind her. That made the fabric feel transparent instead of just decorated with dots. At this point, the GTA lady was working, not perfect, but working. So I moved to Jason and Lucia. But each character had a different problem. Jason needed to stay rough, more facial breaks, more beard texture, more body hair, stronger anatomy, while Lucia needed to stay cleaner, softer shapes, fewer harsh details, smoother lines. If I added too much texture to her, she started losing the cleaner visual read. Jason's renders come together faster, because by then I already understood the lighting pattern. For the face I could use the official references, but not for the body. The body used the rules I had already tested. Lucia was similar, but her face took longer, because the expression was more delicate. If I pushed the mouth or shadows too much, she stopped looking like Lucia, so I kept correcting until the acting and the character felt balanced. At this point, the image was around 90% done, which means it was time for the final correction. I put the drawing beside the references and checked what still felt off. For the GTA lady, I added loose hair strands and baby hairs around the hairline. That made the hair feel less like one solid object. It's not perfect, I know. I could keep polishing this for many more hours. The file should have been higher resolution, because some tiny details like the eyes would have been easier with thinner lines. A few faces could be cleaner, but after more than 25 hours, I think this drawing had already reached the goal of the video. It felt close enough to the GTA 6 art style to tell the story. I've loved the GTA artwork since I was a kid playing the PS2 games, so trying to recreate that feeling was really fun. I'm building the One Style Challenge right now. It's a focused mini course where I'll guide you through studying one style and applying it to a character. The waitlist is linked below and everyone on it will get a launch discount when it goes live. You can also grab my free essential brushes for Photoshop and Clip Studio Paint in the description. And tell me in the comments, what art style should I study next?